All right, guys, we are back. We are going to try and recreate another dish that's very, very meat heavy, but incredibly vegan. Hey guys, I'm Candace the Edgy Veg, and today I'm going to try and make a vegan brisket on the barbecue. I'm super pumped because this is another video that is sponsored by Napoleon. Yay! Napoleon Barbecues has been an awesome partner for us, sponsored a couple of our videos, and it's so exciting to see these awesome brands, you know, want to sponsor vegan creators just like me. But more on that a little bit later. Like I said earlier, I'm going to try and make a vegan brisket on the barbecue, of course. So what I've done is taken what I know about brisket, which is not a lot, so I did lots of Googling to try and see what the traditional method of brisket is. Then I took what I know about seitan and what I know about like kind of beefy flavors and chicken flavors and pork flavors and tried to make that, but in seitan version. So it is a little bit labor intensive, but I think if you're doing this for something like the Super Bowl, which is kind of what I have in mind here, it's definitely worth the little bit of labor or the little bit of extra labor to get this really cool, authentic, tasting and looking vegan dish. So kind of like what we did with the turkey that the internet loved but also hated, but we're gonna do it with a brisket. All right, so along with the brisket, I'm also going to serve this with a couple of sides that I veganized. So we're going to do a corn pudding, some just, you know, really soft dinner rolls, a tangy dill salad, and that's it. So the whole idea behind that is traditional Texas barbecue. You would have your brisket with pickles and raw white onion and the dinner rolls and mac and cheese, or you know, like corn pudding on the side. So I'm thinking the tanginess and the vinegarness of the salad kind of will complement all of that together, and then you can serve it, you know, in the rolls and have your corn on the side. All the recipes, as always, are going to be linked in the description box down below, and the full recipes to the sides will be on the blog. We want this to be kind of a softer seitan, so instead of just using the vital wheat gluten that I usually use, I'm going to mix it with some chickpea flour and a heavy amount of nutritional yeast to get just a really nice tender texture, as opposed to when we do chicken and we really want those fibers that we can kind of tear apart. So we're gonna do that. We're going to flavor it with a bunch of different things, and you definitely will need either a stand, I highly recommend a stand mixer just because your hands are going to get tired kneading probably, and a blender for this. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is put all of my dry ingredients into a bowl. Actually, I'm gonna put it into the bowl of my stand mixer. All right, I'm going to put all of my dry ingredients into the bowl of my stand mixer. So I have my vital wheat gluten, and if you don't know what vital wheat gluten is, you're new here. It is just the protein from wheat. It's a very popular way to make vegan meat. Then we have chickpea flour, also known as garbanzo bean flour, depending on where you live. For our spices, we have our onion powder, garlic powder, we have cumin and paprika. And then our nutritional yeast, this just adds a really nice buttery flavor and texture. All right, I'm just gonna whisk that and then set it aside. The rest of this I'm going to do in the blender just to make sure it's all incorporated really well. I have some no beef bouillon broth. I'm just going to add that, but you can use, if you just have, you know, vegetable broth, you can just use that. We have some brown sugar. This adds, you know, that sweetness that smoked meats can often have. I need a spoon. Olive oil. You definitely want, you know, a fatty aspect to your seitan because it carries the flavor, it helps with mouthfeel, and again, you want it to be tender. Soy sauce, vegan Worcestershire. If you don't have access to vegan Worcestershire, just leave it out. I happen to have access to it. The brand that I use is Wizards. It's great. And then ketchup. I know it's weird, just trust me. Oh, it's a fun sound. And then liquid smoke. If you are making your own vegan meats at home, chances are you have this. Again, if you don't, you can add a little bit of barbecue sauce if you want to. I have a stand mixer here, but if you don't have a stand mixer, you can just do this in a bowl with your hands. But I'm going to add my wet ingredients to my dry. And then using the paddle attachment, I'm just gonna go in and let that come together and then let it knead for about 3 to 5 minutes. You don't want to knead it too much because we want this to be more of a tender meat. All right, I'm going to make the braising liquid now. So again, I have the no beef bouillon broth. You can also use just vegetable. We have some bay leaves, Dijon mustard, parsley, thyme, and chili powder, soy sauce, molasses, brown sugar, and of course garlic. And again, I'm just going to put everything into the blender because it's faster and it's very well incorporated that way, and then you don't have to chop or mince anything. Okay, now I'm going to add in the spices, and then I'm going to blend it, but at a lower speed, just so it kind of mixes. Oh my God, it smells so good. So we have our seitan here, and you'll know when it's ready when it's, you know, a little bit elastic, but you can still move it around and shape it. So I would say probably err more on the side of 3 minutes than 5, but I'm just gonna shape it into what kind of looks like a brisket. The idea here is that you want kind of a casserole dish. A glass one is preferred, and you want it to have lots of surface area here so that all of your vegan brisket has some nice time to char on the bottom without like taking a weird shape, because it's going to want to kind of like it takes the shape of whatever dish you cook it in. So I'm just gonna add some olive oil to my casserole dish and then put that in there. This is more or less just to help it not stick to the bottom, and then also give it a nice crust as it cooks. Give it a last little shape. There you go. And then we are going to add our braising liquid. So I like to just pour it over the top, but you don't want to cover it completely anyway. Just pour it over the top, and you want about that much. I'm going to put this into the oven for about 25 to 30 minutes, just until it has like a nice little crust on the top and the liquid is starting to reduce. All right, while everything is happening in the oven, you can make a dry rub. This is completely optional, but I like it. It definitely gives the authentic experience of a brisket. So I have some paprika, garlic granules, kosher salt, pepper, and cumin. And I just like to put them all into a jar and then just shake it, and then it's combined. I mean, you can also pre-mix this, like a bunch of it, for example, and then just have it on hand to do any sort of barbecuing that you want to do. All right, so what you want is kind of this like crusty, it's like hard-ish, but not really, surface on the top, and just loosen it from the bottom very gently, just like that. And if you find that you don't have a ton of this liquid, you can always use the extra that you have set aside. And then it's pretty much just the same thing. I'm going to put it back into the oven for about another 30 minutes. All right, so I've let my brisket sit just so that it's cool enough that I can handle it with my hands, because I'm going to be putting my dry rub on it. This barbecue sauce step is completely optional, but I really like it because it caramelizes once it's on the barbecue, and it just, that's a really nice, smoky, caramelized, nice charred finish. And honestly, whatever barbecue sauce is your favorite, use that. All right, so I'm going to add my dry rub to the bottom. Rub that in, and then flip it over, and then we're gonna throw this on the barbecue. So I've gone ahead and preheated the barbecue up to about 400 degrees, so that's a high heat. And I'm just gonna toss this guy on. I would say between 3 and 5 minutes, just keep an eye on it. It's ready when it's nice and charred, and then you can flip it, do the other side, and you're done. Okay, so I'm just going to take my brisket and I'm putting it right onto the grill. Do it in the middle here. And I'm going to let that cook about 3 to 5 minutes and then flip it. All right, let's see how the other side's doing. Pretty close. I think that's more or less ready to go. So I just have my little serving dish here that I want to place it on instead of, you know, putting it back into my casserole dish. I might as well just put her right on there. There we go. And that's the vegan brisket. All right, so we have our brisket here. And one of the reasons why I love my Napoleon barbecue, I have the Rogue XT425 model. Our buns are done. And I love that it has 3 different cook areas. It has 570 square inches of cook surface. And it has a really nice cast iron wave pattern. And I just, you know, things don't really get stuck to it. I love it for that. It's really easy to use. Turning it on is a breeze. You don't have to go in with a lighter. And it makes cooking on a barbecue for someone like me that isn't well versed in barbecue cooking. It's you know, really beginner friendly. And of course, they sponsor vegan creators just like me and continue to, which is awesome. So definitely, you know, support them. I'll leave all of their information and information about my barbecue that I have down in the description box down below. All right, so we have the brisket here. It's so nice and charred. And you can slice this really nice and thin and put it on sandwiches. I'm gonna serve it with nice soft dinner rolls and a corn pudding. And then of course, like I said, my dreamy, tangy salad. Oh my God. I'm gonna do a little taste first though. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. Yeah. So I'm going to make like a little sandwich.
Oh my God.
With mine.
I can't be trusted.
Okay. What does it taste like? Okay.
Oh my God.
Uh-huh.
It's so good.
Try it with the pickle. Oh my God, so good. Like, I think I could totally serve this. And like, I don't think people will think it's like a legit brisket, but I think that they would be very impressed. Mm-hmm. All right, well, I guess I know what I'm making for Super Bowl. All right, guys, well, thank you so much. There you have it, a delicious vegan brisket. Thank you again to Napoleon for sponsoring today's video. All the recipes are in the description box down below. If you have a request for a recipe, leave that in the comment section. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you next time. Bye.